Hey everybody, happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
How is everybody tonight? Man, there's a lot going on in there. It's crazy. I come up here during the week sometimes and I'll work on the live a little bit here and there, a little bit there with, headlines because I only do it once a week. So all of the headlines through the week are relevant, I think. And so I get up here tonight and there's so much had changed from Wednesday on the, geopolitical front that I had to change a whole bunch of stuff. And it's just crazy to me, the world that we're living in today. And, someday they'll look back at these times as history, I think. And
I think they won't report a lot it.
They say, history is written by the victors, but
that's what I'm saying. I think a lot of it won't be reported.
Yeah, but it's still, man, it just blows me away. Trying to understand what's real and what's not real is very, very difficult for me because you hear so many, conflicting reports in so many different directions that, trying to make any sense of it is just rough. But anyway, let's get to some hellos for the evening. Rickster was the first one in. Good evening to you. Hey, Harry Kent Hempworth said, I placed Tag's EMP YouTube discussion as Wednesday, March the 5th at 6 p.m. Eastern time. Could not find the presentation. Was it modified? So we did film with Homesteading Family video on electromagnetic pulse, right on time and all of that, but they didn't do it live. So they're going to post it, I would imagine, anytime now. And it'll be out there. But I'll tell you guys something really interesting is it kind of took a weird turn. I'm very used to talking about electromagnetic pulse in the perspective of a hemp, right? A high altitude EMP, or even sometimes like a solar flare or a, coronal mass ejection or something like that. Very, very normal. I'm very used to these conversations, but he really wanted to talk more about dirty electricity and, power surges and lightning and, those kinds of things, which is really great because I think it's such an underrated, benefit of having surge suppression on your home or on, different types of things. And so it was really neat to talk about extending the life of appliances and, so anyways, just a very different type of electromagnetic pulse conversation than I used to have. And we talked about EMP, we talked about the EMP commission and, all of these things. And you guys know the report said that in the event of an EMP, 90% would be dead in the first 12 months. But
90% of people?
Yeah.
90%?
Yeah, the EMP commission declassified that report in like 2018. But it's not because of it itself, right? Because you won't see it, you won't feel it, you won't anything, but nothing would run, right? And so you can imagine the damage that would cause when you couldn't cool insulin anymore, right?
Right.
And those kind of things. Anyway, so that video will be out. Instigators in the house, how are you? The beautiful Wes Wesley, good to see you. Terminator, how are you? Jane, good evening. One step closer, how are you, my friend? Matt, good to see you. Oh my goodness, the king himself, Jeff, juicy, hefty, lefty, Amazon, Mud Dauber, Slick is in the house tonight. Lisa, good to see you. Redneck, how are you, my friend? Long time no see. Let's see here. Kent says, evening, everybody. Guess you haven't blown away with all the crazy wind going on this week. Yeah, we actually didn't even have any damage or anything. Here. Yeah, right. Knock on wood. There were people around me and farms around me who had some issues, but we did not. Carrie Davis, good to see you, my friend. Says, hay is cheap and grass is free. Yep. There is no live stream that's complete without a pack rat. Nitos, good to see you. Talked to you just a little bit ago. We talked on a text. Life with Mike and Jen. Jen, how are you?
Good evening.
Good to see you. Paired-eyed Stanley, good to see you. Jamie, just welcome in. And the greatest name on the internet is in the house. One step closer says, Tag sounds like Trump is keeping you busy. It's not just Trump. I mean, Trump's a big piece of this, but it's a mess out there. And, it's crazy to me that there isn't more uproar over it. Because man, as I titled the live tonight, the lines are being drawn and they're clearly being drawn. And we'll absolutely talk about that more later.
I don't even know of all of them you're talking about, but I know some. So.
Oh yeah, I'll blow you away tonight. I know. Well, I think I've told
you.
We
don't need the wind. Yeah. We got the news.
I think I've probably told you guys this in the past, but B don't know what I put in the slides. She's not involved in it until.
And I don't watch the news. So.
Yeah, until we go through it, So sometimes I wish I was more like her, just oblivious to it. I really do. Because I said
a cobweb.
Probably.
Good grief.
Wonder who's
don't look up there.
Anyway, Starla Dope, good evening. Dana Green, good evening to you. Hilltop Home Place, welcome in. Mary Michelle, hello. Matt says, what is history but a fable agreed upon? Napoleon Bonaparte. No doubt, huh? Shrek 69, hello, hello. Hey, there's my buddies from American Roots Farm. Good to see you guys. I don't know if it's Jess or Joe or both Jess and Joe, but we got some pictures of one of the adventures Joe and I was on this week, which was a little sketchy, but it was all right.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Jane, welcome in. Brett, good to see you as well. Skanes Girl, hello, hello. Terminator says, tag, I'm in and out tonight. I got news today that my second oldest daughter had a massive stroke at work a couple of days at work and flatlined. She is in intensive care. I'm so sorry to hear that. Let's make sure the prayer warriors, get out tonight and let's get some prayers for Terminator and for her daughter.
Sorry.
I'm very sorry to hear that. Let's see here. I think I welcomed Silver Lining, but if I didn't, Silver Lining, welcome in. Did I?
She deserves a second.
She deserves a second one. By the way, I sent you a text that you might be interested in. I'm sure that you've seen it. Let's see here. Hey, Nurse Wang. Hey, I want to do a special shout out to Nurse Wang real quick tonight. He sent me a very well thought out message in reference to spirituality. And I got a lot out of it. I read it several times and it was really, really cool. And so I just wanted to say thank you to him, for doing that. Brett Boyd said, if you have EMP, you don't need the box. Everybody is building to put your, okay, wait a second. Tag, if you have EMP, you don't need the box. Everybody is building to put your electronics in.
If you have an EMP shield, do you need a Faraday cage?
Well,
if I have an EMP shield, will all of my goodies be protected within my house? Does it protect it with a bubble like the picture?
No. So the question is, the answer to that question is it depends. Let me explain to you what I mean by that. Is that it's funny. It's the instigator word, right? Yeah. Where are you in reference to ground zero? What latitude and longitude are you? What other shielding do you have? Like a metal roof would offer significant shielding to a house, for example. Also, which EMP? Because the military standard 188, 125, 1 and 2, what it says is that you have to be able to absorb and deal with 50,000 volts per square meter. B's going blah, 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 blah. I didn't see interface. But the truth is there are super EMPs out there that, we don't know, but could be up to maybe 200,000 volts per square meter. So there's a lot of variables out there. But I will tell you this, it will absolutely offer significant protection over nothing. It will also,
and there's certain things that things have to be plugged in order to be protected and things that but there's a lot of webs there. So
100%. Sonia in Michigan, good to see you. Hey, Indiana Mike, ahoy. How are you, my friend? Look at all those prayers.
You have to go ahoy.
Ahoy. Is that better?
That's what I envision. Yes.
Yep. Tamara Smith, hello. Hey, my buddy Mo Engineers in the house. Good to see you. Dana says my shed blowing down, 3 pieces of tin down, 1 dangling. Ugh. Stan Guthrie, good to see you. Love all those prayers. Hey, Bonnie Ray Huff, what is Bonnie up to? Good to see you.
She is listening. Yeah. That's what she's up to.
Bonnie Ray is listening. All right. Very, very good.
He's a little.
Yep. Conserve Friends came in. Good to see you. Rainy Redmond, how are you? Welcome in. Let's see here. Tina Conkle's in the house. Good to see you. We see Jen says back from Southern California to settle up some stuff. And good gravy. Eggs are $9 for regular white eggs, not even the organic. How many eggs you got today?
A dozen. I got 20 eggs and 1 turkey egg.
Yeah, 20 chicken eggs.
I'm getting 1 turkey egg every day.
Yeah. Rainy Redmond says she's praying. Hey, guys, thank you so much for that. It just absolutely matters. Look at all those prayers for Terminator. I love that. I love this community. I love that you guys will do that, Psalms 125 says, good evening. Good evening to you. Yeah. Brett Boyd says, B, you're the best.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, she's trouble.
No, I need that. Yeah. Every now and again.
Let's see here. Hey, Aljo, how are you? Good to see you as well. I'm trying to look at that. American Root says, ahoy, Trench. Yeah, Indiana Mike's real name is Trench, just so everybody knows. Yeah, Psalms 125 says spring is almost here in Florida. Spring's almost here in Kansas. Monday and Tuesday are going to be 70 and 77.
Yeah.
Is that right? Man.
Working on my tan.
Yeah. Yeah. Super, super cool. Hey, LJC is in the house. How is New Mexico? Hope everything's good there. Let's see here. Brett Boyd says, tag, the reason I was asking the EMP shield ain't cheap, so weighing options. So here's the thing. Real quick. Let me just address this, Brett, real quick. A Faraday cage is a wonderful, wonderful deterrent from electromagnetic pulse. And I don't know if you guys know this, but there's many forms of electromagnetic pulse. It's not just a hemp, right? It's coronal mass ejection, solar flares, lightning produces a electromagnetic pulse. But the truth is, when you start your car, when the ignition sends a signal and your spark plugs turn on, it actually creates a small electromagnetic pulse. The other thing is that there's dirty electricity. There's, specifically like out on the West Coast, and those spikes in that electricity wear out your appliances. There's a lot of reasons, to have some type of, surge suppression. And here's the other thing. All building codes now are going to where all new buildings will have to come with it. So I think that a Faraday cage has a place. The negative is you can't use the devices in it while it's in it.
Right.
They're locked up. The nice thing about like an EMP shield or something like that allows you to continue to use the device. But there's absolutely a place for both.
But then also protects you against other things.
Yes.
The electricity, for example.
Yes.
Like one thing that always aggravated the crap out of me was the fact that when we lived in our other house, we would have to replace our router every spring. We would get a storm, and sure enough, we would get some kind of surges going through the house, and the router would blow. We'd bring somebody over, and they would have to replace it. And they would be like, oh, sorry, it was just because of the storm.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it was about the router, or maybe it was some circuit that goes to that. How does that work? Does it go to a particular breaker, or is the whole house affected by, why is it just some of the electronics that go bad? Why is it that, because like we had a lady who, her dishwasher, she's like, dang it, the dishwasher keeps blowing.
Yeah.
And she got a different brand, and then they were not cheap ones.
And babe, here's the thing: some appliances will be more susceptible to it than others.
Like
right?
Dishwasher,
like
that.
Or two particular brands, a Maytag versus a Whirlpool. Right, everything's built differently. My point is that those spikes in voltage shorten the life of them.
Yeah.
And it's such a super, and I know it's expensive, but really in the grand scheme of things, as compared to buying another refrigerator.
Over and over again,
it's relatively inexpensive. Guys, I can tell you this with 100% certainty. I have a whole wall of units. There's not a better lightning suppressor in the world than an EMP shield.
Well, and here's the
there
thing,
isn't one.
Too, that they replace it if you get it, and if you get a lightning strike and it hits your house and it blows the EMP shield, trips the breaker or whatever it does. What happens to it?
So if something happens to the device itself, they'll replace it for $50 fee.
So it'll break the device.
It'll break the device. But if the shield allows the power through, it also has $25,000 in protection if it actually blows a refrigerator or something actually gets through it. Up to $25,000. Have you ever had
that happen yet?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah. I'll tell you guys a funny story about this, and you guys may or may not even care about this, but I'll tell you anyway. So we went through this big old thing because we kept getting claims on garage door openers. We're like, well, how is it that nothing else, the computers are fine, the refrigerator's fine, everything's fine. Why is the garage door opener? Why are we having claims to this? Well, scientists got involved, and what we found out was the garage door openers had that little antenna that hangs down, and the power was coming up through that antenna. So when a lightning strike or something would happen, it would couple enough energy up that antenna to blow the garage door. And so now we no longer cover garage door openers because there's another way for it to get in. But, excuse me, there's other things there too. Yeah, I'm okay. There's other things there too. So like, for example, your modem, your internet that comes in the house, that's a whole separate line. That's not a 110, 240, AC powered thing. So we've got to protect that one too, or an antenna. So any of those lines coming in are a potential place to burn things. So yeah, we learned all those.
Which is why we have so many.
That's exactly right. All right. Anyway, Brett Boyd says, tag got an Indian spring coming. I know I'm so far behind. You see, Bonnie says, I have 4 packs of 18 unwashed eggs on my counter and just got my half beef in my deep freezer yesterday. It's a good day. You are winning. Yeah, Bonnie's winning, and we should all be winning. There's a lot of reports about food prices and things of those kind of things. So I think the more we do for ourselves,
Yep.
the better off.
And now she's going to start a garden, hopefully. So she'll have a whole plethora of options.
Yep, gotta love that. Let's see. The head of Dickinson Homesteaders reported that her December meat bird order from Murray McMurray was just canceled without being fulfilled. Interesting times. You want to talk about that, Bea?
Yep. I also had not from McMurray though. Mine was from Meyer Hatchery, and I had ordered Narragansetts, and they took the money out, and we waited several months, and now I get an email saying, "Call me. We're going to substitute with something else, or we're going to cancel. We need to hear from you, or we'll do what we think is best." And so I called them and went ahead and canceled the order because I didn't want just something else. I wanted the Narragansetts. So I will not be getting birds outside this year, at least not from them. I'm going to hatch all of the turkey eggs I can possibly find here on my farm.
And how many turkeys do you have already?
I have 1 male and 8 girls.
Mm-hmm.
I have 2 girls that look like they're Narragansetts. They are full-blooded Narragansetts. And then I have 6 girls that look like they're slate with some speckles of Narragansett. So I'm going to go ahead and incubate their eggs because they are half and half slate, half Narragansett. So I'm going to see what I get that way and go from there. At least I'll have meat for possibly 2025.
Yeah, I mean, the best place to store your meat, you guys, is on the hoof. The best place to store your plants are in the seed. The best place to store the energy is in the sun or in a tree, in my opinion. Let's see here. Jen says, we lost a commercial chest freezer from the rolling brownouts when we lived in Southern California, and several routers and other electronics. Yeah. So this is the thing. Imagine
what's a brownout?
This is when they purposefully turn off certain sections for a certain period of time. So basically, in a very simplistic term, the way an EMP shield works is like a overpressure valve in a hot water heater. So, you have them on your hot water heater, and you got to have them on it.
Heater.
So that water heater, so that when the pressure builds, that valve pops if it gets too much pressure and lets off the excess pressure as to not have an accident. The EMP shield works the exact same way. It blows the top and lets the excess energy off as to not create damage. So that's how it basically works. Anito says, a few years ago, my parents in South Carolina lost everything that was plugged in because of an electrical company line getting hit in the neighborhood. Yes. Yep. And guys, I'm telling you, it will be in 5 or 6 years from today, a whole house surge suppression system will be just like a smoke detector. It'll be in every home, every single home. Hey, Pippinized, how are you? Let's see here. Packrat says, Hoover Hatchery also reported to be out, and a local hatchery in Florence, Alabama was also out, according to the local homesteaders. Yeah. Well, I think at the end of the day, we just got to do for ourselves, right? We got to become less and less dependent on the system. And so, like, Bee's going to grow her own birds this year. Which is fine. We would have normally done that anyway, but we were just trying to jumpstart more of the turkey herd. If I could get, I ordered like 20 of them or something. I don't remember, but I ordered her something. And so it's not going to happen. And so we're just going to go back to,
Plan B,
growing our own. Half Bubble Off Plum says, growing up in Florida, we had brownouts all the time and always around dinner time. Packrat said brownouts are brutal. Low voltage is worse than no voltage. Yes. Just enough to roast the motors. Yep. Hey, my buddy Squatchy is in the house. How are you? I hope Lazy Loper as well. Jen says, just water heater. Hot water doesn't need to be heated.
It's a hot water
I know. Bee's on me all the time over this. Okay, sorry. Starless So's tag. Did you say 25,000 protection from the EMP shield? Yeah, there's an insurance policy on all EMP shields that it will protect on damages, and we actually specifically cover lightning. So let's say you have a lightning bolt, the bolt gets through.
They're like,
blows something. Yeah. They need to read the warranty because, again, we exclude a few things, like, for example, a garage door opener. Another thing would be like, we are not going to cover a router if the power came in through the cable and not through the electric system. So you got to protect all of those avenues coming in.
And there is a device that you can put on that to protect that. And there's ones for your ham radios. There's one for your.
Yep. Freesteader, welcome in. Says, hope you all have a wonderful weekend. I am hoping to get a bunch done. Right. Sons of Hack says, funny how, sorry, I should probably put that up there. Says, funny how they wanted to mandate electrical cars, but knew about the rolling of brownouts, fires, smart cities. Oh, look at this. Nito says, our local feed store managed to get 400 chicks and sold out in an hour. Well, yeah, with the price, right? Right.
Wow.
Hippocrates says, is there a blurb on the warranty that it has to be installed by a licensed electrician? There is a blurb on there that says that it needs to be installed by a licensed electrician. Rainey Redmond said, crack me up. Let's see here. Let's see. So if an EMP hit, would it cover if you lost stuff? Yeah, up to 25,000 it would. Yes, it would. But I'm going to tell you something. If an EMP hits, that's at least your problems. But yes, it would. You see, Tamara said, I'd like to have some turkey eggs to hatch. I have 132 chicken eggs in the incubator right now. There you go, girl. Yep, I bet ham radio towers play havoc if they are not disconnected during a thunderstorm. Yeah, we have spent a lot of time at EMP Shield protecting emergency management all over the country. So there's many of ham radio towers and emergency management communication towers that are hardened because of that exact same thing. Hey, look at that. Becky McGill's in the house.
Hello.
I hope all is well with you, Becky. Okay, Starla says, okay, last question. How would a person report it? No phones, no electricity, etc. Actually, you bring up a great point, and she does. She brings up a great point. Probably the most common question that I get is, what good is an EMP shield or anything else like that if the grid is down? Well, a couple things. First thing is, if you have any type of alternative energy, those devices are protected. Therefore, you continue on. But here's the other thing. If the grid goes out, guys, it's going to come back on at some point. If your house is protected and nothing's burned out, the power will get clicked back on and you'll have power. Or you will wait until the power company comes and services whatever they need to service in order to get you power. And my question is, how far down the list do you suppose you are? You're not going to be at the top of the list, right? Because top list is going to be their own needs, right? But it will protect that. Here's the other thing. We talked about military standards, right? So 50,000 volts per square meter. If you imagine an E3 and that just radiating, for maybe hours, right? At your house, there's a big fire danger, and having a way to deal with that excess energy would also protect your house in that particular case. But I hope that answered your question. Pip and I said, worked 20 years at a car dealership. I've seen plenty of vehicles struck by lightning. Yeah, we had one a couple years ago that got hit by lightning, and we actually ended up paying a claim out on it because one taillight blew out. Everything else was fine.
Wow.
One taillight. So
how do you know it was hit by lightning? Like, is it obvious?
Well, you can test it. So like we can take one of the requirements of before we pay a warranty claim is we get the device back. And so we can take the device. We have all kinds of testing equipment. We can tell a lot through it.
That's
okay.
fair.
Yeah. Brett Boyd says, tag as a member of your channel. Do you have a discount code? I do. So you can type in at EMP Shield free 50, and that'll give you $50 off each of them. Or you can go out to one of your, favorite channels, Homesteading Family, who I was just on. They have one. Billy Bond has one. There's a lot of them out there that have them. And, I don't really care. It really don't make a huge difference to me one way or the other, but it gives you a discount. So feel free to use what you want. But yeah, you can use free 50 if you want to. Let's see here. Jen says, I can't do EVs. The EMF is way too much for me to handle. Yeah, I'll tell you something interesting about EMF is I am interviewing for EMP Shield an EMF scientist right now. I don't know what will come from it.
That's cool.
Yeah, but there's, if it worked out, there are some talks about being able to include some EMF protection inside of an EMP Shield. And I need to learn more. So I'm not exactly sure on how all that stuff works. I'm not the scientist, you guys. I run the business side. I deal with the taxes and the profit and loss statements and those kind of things. I don't.
Fun stuff.
Yeah. Started Oak says EMP works on 100 and 200 amp. Yes. Yep, it will do both of them. Let's see here. Oh wait, I missed up there. I seen it passed by Lazy Loper. Welcome in. Do you know what's awesome is getting a first EMP Shield, then buying another, and then a few friends and family members are already on board. Gotta love that. God, I think everybody should have them. Like I have, so you guys know I have 8 of them on my house. And I'll
And
explain.
then on the cars.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
on
that's not even
the-
counting the cars and stuff. But let me tell you why I have so many on my house. So I have one on the breaker panel, right, which is what most people do, and that protects, the house. I also have them on my well because my well is so far from my house that the shield is not going to offer protection. It's just too far away. I also have one on all 5 of my charge controllers. So that's 5 of them right there, right, for my solar system. And then I have one on my generator. Then in addition, the data model, we have a brand new data model that's coming out. And as soon as they get out there, I'll be putting them on all my data cables as well. Where are we at here? I think I've said hello to everybody. If I missed anybody, I apologize. Comment, and then we'll get right back to it. Hey, real quick, I got a question for you guys. So I have been told by numerous people over the last little while that I should change my lives up, that I should not do a homesteading section where, we talk about everything that happened on the homestead and then get into, current events, that I should just do one or the other. And it's been suggested to me that I separate those lives completely. I would love to know what you guys think about that. Mo says, with all the federal weather people getting laid off, think you may be able to expand your expertise at your company. Yeah, maybe. I've got some stuff coming in reference to that. If you get an E&P engineer that is relaxed and conversant, consider doing a quick bit with them on E&P EMF fundamentals. Yeah, I actually will do that. I've asked the chief technology officer if he would do it. He said he would. I just haven't done it.
That's cool.
Yeah. How does EMP affect residential lightning rods? Actually, it's another antenna, right? And what you guys have to understand about lightning and really in an EMF, it can come up from the bottom too. So if you think about a lightning rod, right, it takes a lightning strike. It's supposed to ground it out. But the reason why they've stopped putting lightning rods on buildings is because another thing lightning can do is come back up. So you can have a lightning strike, and we've learned this over just study after study after study. A lightning can hit next to your house and actually come up your grounding rod and fry all kinds of stuff in your house.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah.
And you can know when you test it, you can know which way it went.
I know where it comes from. Yeah. Rhonda Benefield, good evening to you. Hey, Permatopia Farm. How is Mandy Garrett? Good to see you. Jen says for Starlink like that. Yes. So the first one that comes out will be a Cat 5 for data, but also coax and Starlink are in the works. Yeah, Starlink says keep it as it is. Half Bubble Off Plum says I like the format. Lisa says keep it as it is. Conserve Friend says current like the same. Sonia says it's your live. Do what you like. We love hearing what you're doing. Yeah. Rick says like it is. Indiana Mike says don't change it. Jen says current format. Let's see here. LJC says I think it would be good if you did a hard stop for the community news like you do for the good news, so that if someone wants to hear the community news, they can tune in after an hour. Let's see here. Matt says, keep sharing Homestead happenings and current events. Do you have time to do a separate broadcast? Not really. But, it's, one of those things. Yep. Hey, Vicky Pullen, welcome in. Good to see you. Brett Boyd, if I understand correctly, an EMP shield is a pop-off valve. Very similar, right? It's going to, it's constantly monitoring the system. When it reaches a certain level of voltage, it's going to clamp or shunt. It's going to shunt that over voltage. So it works just like a pop-off valve. Yeah. Yeah. Most people say just keep it as it is. Keep the format, keep the format, keep the format. Do as you like. Yep. Yeah. All right. The good news is I think I got the point. Right. But I would still love to continue to hear from everybody. They say that I would reach more people and YouTube would share it more if I would separate them. I don't know if it's true or not, but that's what they say. One more rock. Welcome in. Good to see you. All right. Let's keep it trucking, huh? So I've been started today plumbing on the community building. So what I'm working on is just the inside plumbing. I've got some friends, in particular one of them, who help me with the septic and stuff, but I can do the pressure tanks and I can do the toilets and all that kind of stuff. So I'm beginning to work my way, through kind of that stuff. I went and got the pressure tanks, some of the filters, some of the fittings, that kind of stuff today. So guess what I'm doing tomorrow?
Plumbing.
Yeah, I'll be working on plumbing. My buddy Joe is going to come up and said he would install the pump inside the cistern.
That means he has to crawl inside of it.
Hey, you know, it is what it is.
It's dry though, right? There's no water in it yet.
Yeah, no, it's dry. It's a matter of getting down in there and doing it. But
just have to crawl in.
Yeah, so that'll be super nice to have that. Again, I'm super excited about that. We got the grid down system fully commissioned. And so here, let me show you guys. I don't know if I can show you.
And it's on his phone.
Yeah, let me show you here what it looks like. So I don't know if you guys can see this or not. So this is actually reporting on the building, the community building. I'm not even in the community building, but it's just telling me what's coming in. So right now I'm losing 74 watts coming out of the batteries right now because there's nothing on but the grid, but the Starlink probably, and then the grid down itself. Yeah, pictures. What did Jen says? Pictures are a must for that. For the plumbing. Is that what you're talking about? What else we got going on? I mentioned earlier I was on Homesteading Family on Wednesday this week. We talked about EMP, so make sure you guys check that out, and I'll share it once they release it.
Do you know when it's going to be?
No,
this week.
Last time I did it with them was like 10 days later. And it came out after they did whatever. Whatever it is.
Well, they probably have stuff already scheduled to come out, so it's just part of their rotation or.
Yeah, they got a big channel. So, but anyway, so that was super good. So we're going to work on that. And then we've gotten some other things we've been working on here, and I'll show you guys. Oh, she said Joe in the tank.
Pictures.
Yeah, I'll get pictures of Joe in the tank. He's such a good hand, like literally so capable in so many ways. Him and I build a lot of stuff together, and he's got cube fever. If you'll have to go over to American Roots Farm, make sure you subscribe to their channel and ask him what cube fever is.
You'll have to wait for 7 months before you actually see what that is.
See, Jess, it's not just me. See, with friends like this, right? Anyway, B, what you got tonight?
Well, so update on Violet. Her tummy is looking great. I ended up moving to, oh man, Becky, if you're still on here, what's the blue stuff that I have to clean the dog with? The cleaning solution. I was using water, which is what she told me to use, the vet. And she said, it's amazing what water will do. Well, when the tummy is looking great, the hot spot where I was giving her injections, it didn't go well. She had like black scabs down her spine where I was giving her injections. And so I called the vet and said, you got to give me oral medicine. I can't do the injections. So they kind of like grew into one big mass, and that's where the dogs like fight each other. They're playing really, but they're grabbing each other by the neck and pulling each other. And so this thing on her back got very chlorhexidine. Yeah. So it got all gross, frothy. And so
frothy.
I had to change up some stuff, and the chlorhexidine is actually drying it up very well. I put it on her tummy too, and it's actually like it's shrinking dramatically in just like 2 or 3 days. So she is doing significantly better. Her rib though, where he had pulled the rib up out of her, and he was like, look, this is just going to float here. Her chest is like bulged out on one side. So where that rib is not attached to the sternum, it's just like poked out. So she's going to be a little deformed.
She's a beautiful girl.
Yeah.
So she's doing fine.
She is doing much better. So she has survived her gunshot wound and her owner giving poor injections, and she's going to make it. Yeah, chlorhexidine. We use that on so much. It's for dogs and horses, but you can use it on yourself if you need to.
Yeah, I think Mo and I posted this, but I want to read it. It says he puts the lotion on his skin when he's down in the tank. It will motivate him. Yeah.
Well, then he'll slide in and out very easily.
Yeah, I think we'll make that happen. That'd be a great short.
Him lotioning himself?
No, me lowering lotion, saying he puts the lotion on his skin.
Oh, yeah.
Or he gets the hose again. You know,
his head's gonna stick out of the top of it. It's not even not that deep.
Yeah, Jen says she's gonna match Mario with a floating rib.
Yep.
All right. What else you got?
So still working on taxes.
You said they'll be done this weekend, right?
I am trying so hard, but I've got the personal taxes, I've got the farm taxes, I got freesteading taxes, I've got grid down taxes, I've got American frontier taxes.
Isn't purpose amazing?
This is my purpose.
It's one of your purposes. Are you happy to have a purpose?
Yes, I am. Yes, I'm glad that I can try to save money on the back end.
Yep. Are you successful at saving money on the back end?
Yeah, I am. Because I'm like, I've got a receipt to prove it, buddy. Like, here's my file folder, and here is my stack.
Yeah.
So that by the time I'm done, everything is organized and put together and ready to go.
Yeah. Squatchy says, yay, the Loper got ours done today. All of them.
Good for you. Congratulations.
Yeah. Lazy Loper's apparently on top of it.
On the ball.
On top of it. Yeah, you should, Lazy Loper. You do me a favor and give B a call and try to help motivate her.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because we've had all year to prepare, and here we are still.
You say we had all year to prepare, but she didn't do it.
No, I didn't say you didn't do it. I just said it ain't done yet.
Right. Same thing.
Okay. Okay. What else you got? Trouble?
So the community building had its first ladies jiu-jitsu class.
Oh, yeah.
And I showed up late, but I had to be there to lock up the building. So I got to see what was going on. They were learning how to fall so that when you fall, like whatever you're doing, not just somebody pushing you, but like you go to fall, like how to fall without hurting yourself.
Squatchy, you're a big Sally. Just saying.
Yeah.
Huh?
But so that was interesting. I've never seen anything like that.
Yeah.
I've never knew that there was a way to fall down without hurting yourself. But
Do you hurt yourself every time you fall down?
Usually. Although remember that time that I fell at the casino on the curb? And Jeff goes, "Did you fall?" And I'm like, "I'm on the ground, aren't I?" And he goes, "But you fell so gracefully." It's like, well, I was trying not to.
I remember that. And guys, this was a case she was walking and just fell over. It wasn't like there was anything in her way.
I just went, boop.
Yeah.
No, I
she was a weeble wobble.
I tripped on the curb.
She was a weeble wobble.
I was on the edge of the curb and I was like trying to stand. I fell. Yes.
Yeah, well, it's one of those skills. It's one of those skills. If you don't use it every day, you lose it. Use it or lose it, right?
He says, "Did you fall?"
Yeah, Pippinine says, post 40s, about all falls hurt. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, Conserve Friend says, after 3 weeks of vacation, I returned to the CPA who announced I don't owe any taxes. Thanks, Tag and B, for supporting our community. Oh, you're very welcome. Mo says Pelosi needs to attend your fall class. Yeah, amongst a whole bunch of other
learn
people.
To fall.
Yeah, Mo is in quite the mood tonight. Yep, Silver Lining says she's good at falling. Have you seen her fall?
No.
Oh. Well, next time I see a Silver Lining, as you walk by, I'll trip you so we can see. So we can watch your grace.
You could show us your fall.
Yeah.
No, don't do that. You'll end up hurting yourself.
No. What else you got?
been starting seeds in the greenhouse.
That's a good
Get
thing.
ready for, well, I've been putting the media in the trays and labeling, getting the seeds ready to put in, but I have not put any.
Time is ticking. You guys, I'm going to tell you, we joke around a lot, but I mean this. Food security is a gigantic deal. And I'm going to tell you guys, it's becoming more and more important all the time. The tariffs, the things that are going on are going to absolutely have an adverse effect on what we do every single day. 100%. And so, you know, like I tell B all the time, we need this year, we need to garden like it matters. And I told her that last year too. And, but this year we should, you know, do our best to do even more. And I would encourage every one of you guys to do the exact same thing. So, Silver Lining said, "You've seen me fall down the hill at the community building." Yeah, B told me that counted as rolling, that it wasn't falling.
I don't remember that.
Yeah. Nito said, "B, I tripped over the dog in the middle of the night last summer. It took me out for 2 months."
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Dogs are tripping hazards.
Yeah. Rhonda says, "I have MS, so with balance issues, I'm good at falling. I'm not graceful, but I don't get hurt."
Oh, so she has learned to fall to not get hurt.
Yeah. Paradise Stanley said, "We're seeing suppliers from Mexico pulling contracts." Right. Yeah, I'm seeing a bunch of that kind of stuff too. We'll talk a little bit about that tonight. But I expect to see more and more of this. And so unless you want to be a slave to the $9 eggs, you better do something about it, because that's exactly what it is.
Because of the tariffs.
Yeah. Yeah, Packrat says, "The doors are closing on food security. Cheers to all that can act on that knowledge." Yeah, but I would argue it's not too late. It's not too late to start gardening. It's not too late to do those things.
It is not.
It is not.
It is not too late to start seeds.
It is not. It's actually past due to start seeds.
It is not too late. There are many things you can start right now.
Yeah.
There are many things you can start in the ground right now.
I'm going to quote Jess from American Roots. She said that the window is closed.
She didn't say
we are long past due where we should be starting those seeds. That's what Jess said.
No,
she told me to tell you that. Yep, she did.
No.
Yeah, Brett says, "My fruit trees are budding. Pollen is falling. We're not in the Indian spring." Let's see here. Squatchy says, "Fruit trees, eggs, meat, and garden." Yep, we're going to do the exact same thing. Matt says, "Going to need a dump truck full of cash to buy a loaf of bread the way things are going. Then there won't be any bread to buy." Yep, so I got to make your own, right? Yep. Pippin Eye says that it's not flying, it's falling in style. And Starla says, "I'm doing something about it. Thanks to Tamara. I'm going to be a proud chicken mama." Oh, good for you. Lazy Loper says, "I ordered some speckled Sussex." Oh, very good. Very good. We really like them. They're a little bit like mice. A little bit is the way I look at them. They're not like the other chickens. You know, like when we go out to the yard, the barnyard mix sits there and waits for you to feed them. Like they come to you, right? They're like, feed me, you know, take care of me. And the Sussex look at you like you're bothering me. It seems to me like they scatter more, and they spend way more time in the woods. They're just way more self-reliant than, you know, the rest of them.
They don't want me to love them.
Yes. Yes. We just had 2 days of rain in the desert. Trees will be budding soon. Got to celebrate rain in the desert, right? Bumgards in Topeka was sold out of chicks 2 times. So people are listening. I hope they are. Right. I really hope they are.
Sold out.
Yeah. We have been giving a lot of eggs away from us, but we're getting plenty, and it's just now going to start picking up from here. So we ought to get more and more and more of that, right? This tag, "I'm in the produce business." Oh, very cool. And this week has been a cluster. Yep. All my businesses is from Mexico, and they feed us 85% of our winter fresh produce.
Oh, 85%.
Great, Brett. This is a great point, right? So now we got to get talking about preserving our food, right? Because you may not be able to get those winter crops. That's right. Well, but in fairness, guys, and I know most of you guys know this, but in the old days, you ate what was in season. Right. You know, you didn't have strawberries year round.
Right.
You know,
unless you preserved them.
Unless you preserved them, right? And so
carrots.
And so maybe the American diet needs to get back to, you know, eating what's in season,
or preserving it. That's
right. That's Brett. That's a really, really, really great point. Hey, Dave and Sonia from Michigan. There's another YouTube channel you guys should check out. Good to see you. Squatchy said, guys, Loper ordered over 50 birds. Yikes. But okay. But Squatchy, here's the thing. If Loper wanted 20, right, and God said it had to be at least 30, then 50 it is.
Congratulations.
Right? That's right. Yeah, Vicky Poland says, our farm stand is open now on Saturdays, and we have fruit trees, berry plants, and vegetable bedding plants for sale. So if you are Conroe or Houston area. Yeah, Vicky Poland, can you post a website? Can you link something in here? Because then I'll put it up there so people can see it. But yeah, and here's the other good thing about this. Whether you're in Houston or you're not in Houston or that area, you get a chance to do business with someone who's like-minded, and that we're not dependent on south of the border, north of the border, east of the border, or west of the border. But if you can get a website in there, I will absolutely post it. Have you heard about the bugs they are putting in hamburger? I've heard about bugs in hamburger.
Like crickets?
I've heard about other meats they're putting in it. I've also heard about the stuff they're injecting in it to make it fuller. I've got some slides on that, a little bit on the beef stuff that's been going on. But again, this is why we store our food on the hoof, and this is why we have cows. You know, we just butchered a cow not very long ago, but we already have next year's cow out there eating. And the years after that cow is in a belly right now, right? That will be born March or April, right? May or whatever it is. Yeah. Hey, Todd, not Todd. How are you?
May 12th.
Hey, Amy B. How are you? Yeah, Starlet Duke says, this is when the Wallapini with the high tunnel comes in handy. Yeah. Yeah. Mo says, and this is a great point too, says the tariffs are a business opportunity for the forward thinking. Super well said. Dana Green says, yeah, she's 30 miles north of Nacogdoches. Hope I said that right. Yeah, Squatchy says now they have over 120. You know what's better than 120 is 150.
I was like,
Dream big, right?
220. That's a lot.
Nurse Wayne says, planning on starting a roadside stand to sell plant starts, eggs, and produce this summer. I love all of that.
Yeah. I think you're going to see a lot more of that. People sharing, people selling their wares.
Yeah, I think you will see more of it. I think there is some opportunity there. Tag, I love what we are doing here, but it ain't shit in the big picture. Elaborate. Yep, elaborate. All right. All right, what else you got, Pumpkin? What's next on your list?
So we've got company coming, getting ready for Girl with Dog will be here for a quick visit. If any of you know who that is.
Miss Rebecca. Yep. She's going to come hang out with us a little bit. She actually is going to go hang out with Jeff and Lou. At least that's what she told me she was going to do.
And then I was helping a friend with a pain that she was having in her back. And then I was leaning over her on the floor, actually, which is, I know better. But then I ended up hurting my back. So I think that I am too tight. I am not taking care of myself all winter long. No stretching, no, vitamins or trying to drink my water or.
Okay, can I ask you something?
What?
So I had the same winter you had.
Yeah.
I didn't stretch.
You need to.
I can work 12 hours out there and I'm never sore.
That's not true.
No, it is
your
true.
knee hurt you for months.
There are times
and
I
you're
can
like,
get, but I'm
my
not.
Leg, this.
But my point is, I don't go out and work all day long and then am typically sore. Sometimes my feet hurt or something, but I'm not.
Maybe you need to work a little bit more.
Maybe you need to build some core body strength.
I think with you sitting in the skid loader and
moving
around while I'm hauling posts and setting them up.
Oh, come on. Really?
And you're like,
goodness. Oh yeah, those buildings built themselves.
And you're like, my kidneys are so sore from riding the skid loader all day.
Oh my goodness.
What'd you do? You only moved 6 bags of concrete?
You can say that with a straight face to all these people. Oh my goodness. You guys.
All of it.
You guys.
They know.
Yeah. Hey, Love Runs Rampant, how are you? Yeah. Anyway, you're such a dork.
Vacation.
Yeah, clearly on vacation.
Yeah.
What else you got on there, Punk?
Are you?
Yeah, I'm gonna do those other ones.
Yep, that's it then.
Yeah. All right. So one of the challenges we've been having is Bee's little greenhouse that's on the south side of our house. She likes to start her plants, but the problem is the animals, the mice particularly, crawl up underneath the greenhouse and they get up in there. And the reason is there was a planting box I had intended upon building to stop that. But again, it's, you know, it's this constant thing about what do you spend your energy on, right? What do you spend your time on? Yeah. Pack rat go, and who's on vacation? This one,
Not me.
right? This one. Yeah. I got core body strength. What I got to tell you.
I need to work on my core.
Yeah.
Loosen the cage.
I could have so much fun with that right there.
Keep
Like
it
I
going.
could sing,
Let's
I could,
keep
you
it
know.
going.
I'm not going to sing Baby's Got Back. Okay.
No. Why would you do that?
Anyway, so we got
Oh, it cut the whole thing off.
I got some more pictures in there. So this is going to get filled with, Bee's got to go get sticks, right?
I was going to do some hugelkultur in
Yep.
there.
She's got to throw them in the bottom of it, and then I'll fill it with good, solid compost, and then she can plant whatever it is she wants to plant. The good news is this stops her issue in her greenhouse. I'll show you guys a couple more pictures
Stops
here. Real quick.
the things from coming in. Yeah.
Yep. So she got 2 boxes out of the deal. And again, it's just a matter of filling them all up now. And then again, she'll have some more places to plant, which will be pretty cool. But basically, that's what got built just on the side of the greenhouse right there. So again, now we still got to go and, you know, fill the dirt in and, you know, all of those kind of things.
Landscape it.
Yeah. Yeah. And landscape it a little bit. But it should stop, you know, part of that problem.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Jen says, awesomeness. Yeah, guys, you know, building with blocks is really easy. And it's a simple solution and an inexpensive solution to a lot of things. You know, each one of those blocks is $1 or $1.50. You know, it's not super expensive, you know, to do. But anyway, so what I'll do this weekend is if Bee gets her stuff done, which means she has to go cut the branches off and pick up what she wants to go down in the bottom of it, then I will bring in the compost and fill it all the way up. And then you'll have another planting box.
Yeah.
Which would be pretty exciting, right?
Yep.
You agree?
I do. And it did, I think it turned out really nice.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you know what you're gonna plant it yet? I guess you got to figure out what you're gonna plant in all the other ones you made me build.
I've planted stuff in there, so
How many things?
2. Too many.
Hey, David Strom, how are you? Says Dag makes it look easy.
Mhm.
It's core body strength, David.
Yeah.
It's core body strength.
No, it's old man muscle.
Old man muscle. We'll settle on old man muscle, right?
Oh man
Okay,
muscle.
old man muscle.
Oh, that hurt.
Yeah, my lover of the dynamic says my hubby loves building with block because it's like Legos. Yeah, it is like Legos a lot. Yeah. Yeah, Psalms 125 says I like the textured cinder block. It looks nice. Yeah, I prefer the textured ones too. It just gives it a little bit of better of a look. Tina Conkle says, did you hear about the jabs that they are going to make the Amish children take for homeschooling in New York? I did read that today. There's a bunch of fight going on, so we'll see if it holds up. But this would be a big deal. And I think this would also tell you a lot about, you know, RFK and, you know, all of those kind of things, whether or not they step in or they don't, you know. But I did read about that. Got to keep the girls from helping you dig in there.
The dogs.
Oh, yeah.
Got to keep the dogs from helping dig because the dogs are going over into that area and just digging.
Hey, Palmetto Paratrooper, how are you? Good to see you. Long time no see. Good to see you. Bee's got stuff starting to pop up, right? What do you got going on here, Bee?
Those are all the onions.
Yep, those are onions.
That didn't get harvested last year are sprouting all this year.
You should talk about getting all the gardens and food forest and everything cleaned out.
Yeah, got a great. Well, it's actually all mainly it's done. There's some stuff that needs to kind of go through. I need to go back through and tend to. But for the most part, the beds are all cleaned out and ready to plant in. Some things I want to put some of that fabric over and hopefully help with some of the weeds again. Right there, you can see the layer of bricks are all buried underneath the hay.
Yeah, you got a lot of work to do.
Hey,
Brett says, B, I was running a post hole digger today and making those same motions. What motion were you making?
I don't know.
Yeah, Amy B wants to know if those onions are viable to harvest now.
No, they need to go. They're squishy.
Okay. See what else you got going.
At least the ones that I picked last.
What is this mess?
These are all seeds I was pulling out to throw out. I had crimson clover and Dutch white clover, yellow peas, turnips.
Rye.
No,
Didn't you have some rye?
Kentucky fescue.
Okay.
And then the bag over there was what was left over from the stuff that we got. When we had the seeds, the cedar from the
natural prairie grass. Yeah.
Yes, it was like gamma grass and big blue and little blue, things like that. I actually did not spread any of that because of the wind. That was a lot lighter of a pellet. The peas and turnips and clover. The clover all came like inoculated or something. It was, the seeds were actually coated with some kind of, it made the seed bigger.
Big blue stem is what Amy B says.
Yes.
Yeah. So B went around and seeded a bunch of the pastures, and then also the new pond that we built, the dam, both sides, right?
Yes, I put
some on
clover
there.
On that. I put the turnip in the hay fields, the fescue went into that one area that you covered in the orchard because that's going to be mowed. That is not animal grass. The peas I put on the old dam, the south side of the old dam. What else was there?
Lover and Grandpa said the struggle is real here in Maryland. Commercial beekeepers have a 50% loss of colonies. Oof, sad to say, we had 6 of 12 colonies lost as well. If other states are the same, honey may get more expensive. Man,
I'm excited to get back in there. Jess from American Roots said that she would be interested in getting into the hives with me. So just having an extra hand is something that I just can't do it by myself. I can't lift and pry and it's just not, I just can't, without hurting myself.
Yeah. Well, this was good that she spread all this seed because she spread it the day before it rained a whole bunch. So that ought to help us a lot. We got spread a little bit in the food forest I brought some dirt in and did some dirt work. And then also I need to get seeding around the community building. I did a bunch of dirt work over there, and we'd like to be able to get grass coming up there so I can, take care of it. It's not just muddy all the time.
Yeah. What kind of grass are you? You don't want to hay over there.
No.
So
just,
what do you
just
want?
regular grass. Yeah, just regular grass.
Like,
because it's where I can mow around the community building. Yeah, probably. Unless somebody else has some better ideas, which I'm sure with this crowd.
There's a lot more.
Yeah. What do you got going on here?
Oh, this is so weird. So there was a rabbit underneath the lawnmower.
A dead rabbit.
Yes. And it had been there a minute. And then there was a bird underneath the lawnmower, both in the barn. Just these two things are parked right next to each other. And they had animals under there. I have no idea. The barn doors are always open so they can get out. So I don't know why they're in there. I didn't see any obvious it wasn't like missing a part of its body or anything.
Have you ever heard of a Layens hive? Only one frame at a time lifting and less need to be in the hives too. Pros and cons. Starlet says, I have a burning question. Alberta has canceled all sales of American quorum. So will those businesses in Canada just have to take a loss, or how will they affect us? I'm going to talk about this a little bit tonight. And, it looks like Until something's solved, Canadians will be doing more business with Canadians, and in the end, Americans will be doing more business with Americans. It'll be more expensive, but that's the outcome I think we'll all see of a lot of this. She said liquor. American quorum, said quorum, but she meant liquor. So Alberta canceled all sales of American liquor. So will those businesses in Canada just have to take a loss? And how will it affect us? Well, they just won't be buying our liquor, but I'm sure plenty of it will get, sold as well. Squatchy says, build be a tool to lift those bee boxes by herself. Well, here's the thing. How am I supposed to help her build her core body strength if I do that?
Yeah, just do it yourself. No, I can't lift and pry at the same time. I have two hands.
Mo said I had a dead rabbit under my brush hog after I started it.
Ooh.
Yeah. I've cut a few bunnies up mowing in my day. Mostly baby bunnies.
An accident, and you had no idea it was there.
Yeah, and I don't. All right.
It's so weird because that's why the dogs like follow you when you mow. Mm-hmm. They're waiting for something to come out.
Something out, snake or something. So, guys,
yeah, this was sketchy.
So we sold a outbuilding that we had,
the sheep shed.
Yeah, because B got the new barn. I no longer need this. This building just sits empty. So we sold it to some friends of ours, and then we were going to load it on to a trailer. And the problem is, it wasn't that it was too heavy, because the skid steer would lift it just fine.
Yeah, it's hollow.
It's just, it's so big, and it wants to, tilt and do all of these things. So it's funny. It took us 2 hours to load it and 2 minutes to unload it.
Why? Did you just yank it off?
No, we loaded it on the trailer and then drove over there. And then when it came to loading it, we just put a chain around it and grabbed a hold of it with a skid steer and just slowly drug it off the back of the trailer. And it was perfectly fine. But,
so you did pull it off.
Yeah.
You didn't lift it.
No, we pulled it off. But we didn't yank it. He went slow, and it didn't creak. It didn't nothing. It's got skids underneath it. It just skidded right off, right off of it. But
so did you pull the trailer to where he wanted it, and then pull it off?
Pull it off there. Yeah, and it literally just took us literally 2 minutes to get it off and 2 hours to get it on. Let me see here. Terminator says Canada has taken off all American alcohol off the shelves and has canceled $100 million contract with Elon Musk for Starlink. Yeah, well, Starlink is not going to be hurting because they've got a big contract coming. Guys, for the last 2 years, we've gone to farmers market almost every weekend and traded 2 dozen eggs for a pint of honey. Lots of honey in stock. Good for you. Laying hives are popularized by Leo Darshkin.
Oh, okay.
In Missouri. The book is Keeping Bees with a Smile.
Okay.
Yep, got it. Indiana says, I
They're
remember
like
a time.
Long, you know what I'm talking about? Mm-hmm. They're long. Mm-hmm. So you lift the lid and there's one frame.
Yeah.
So you don't have to.
You're not prying boxes apart.
Right. You're lifting one frame.
Right. I remember my first time moving a chicken coop. Laugh out loud. Yeah, I remember the first time moving a tiny house, Indiana. That was the sketchiest thing we have ever done, ever, in my opinion, in the community, is move a 2-story tiny house on the back of a regular truck and trailer that was so tall. We were stopping and lifting power lines to get up underneath it, and we had to go about 18 miles or whatever it was. And I'm the first car, and I'm watching in my rearview mirror, and that thing's just going like this on the back of the trailer, and my heart was in my stomach the whole time. But anyway, it was quite fun. See, Dana Green says, I hate that Terminator. My family is Canadian. Don't want strife between our countries. Guys, there's no strife between the people of Canada and the people of America. It's a whole bunch of, egos and corruption and a whole bunch of stuff going on to get to whatever internal game they're playing, which they won't let either of us know on. But Pete says, that's great. We do all kinds of sketchy stuff like that. Yeah.
I can't watch that. I'm like, I'll stay home.
Yeah, but the thing is, you're not going to get it done if you don't get up and go do it. Right? I mean, you just got to find a way, Anyway, he says he also builds the Langstrom long hives. Yeah. These those types of hives were demonstrated last spring by the Todd.
Yeah.
I'm so pumped for summer again, ready to fill my new cement cellar now to build shelves. Yeah. Lazy Loper says, like the hot walker. Yeah, they must be something there. Which is why I am trying to design mine with a removable top. Sorry, Canadian friends, if you think you're going to hurt the U.S., you need to fight your worthless politicians like we're trying to do. This is actually a really good point. Canada, I think, has lost their soul in a lot of ways. I don't know how many people up in Canada really love Justin Trudeau, but I don't think he's done them any favors. And I think it's time for people all over the world to stand up, but they are. Again, that's something we'll talk a lot about, tonight. Hillbillies do way sketchier. That's my family. That shed looks perfectly good. Yeah, it was fine. Like the skid loader handled it just fine. I could pick it up there just fine and put it up there just fine. But it was just big and bulky, Yes. It's like carrying a sheet of drywall. It's not heavy. It's just awkward.
Well, and there's no floor to it, so it's just the shell.
Yeah. But the good news is we get to repurpose things, and this building was not being used, and it gets to go to another homestead, and they get to find additional life out of it.
Yes. And they needed it, and we didn't.
And they could use it, and we didn't.
This is how my lady cow gets out, because the door she fits in. And there's a door that goes in the barn or into the cow yard, and a door that goes out of the cow yard. And so she would just walk in and then walk out. And we had to make sure that these doors were shut at all times because she'd just walk out.
Yep. This picture here, you can see us again loading it onto the trailer. And the person in the brown jacket, that's the king himself, Jeff, Juicy, Hefty, Lefty, Amazon, Mud Dauber, Slick, giving directions like he's supposed to do. But
making it go smooth.
Yeah. But it was pretty cool. So I'm excited about all of the crazy things we've got going on. This next week's going to be a busy week for us. B's going to try to get in the gardens and that, right? Specifically Monday, Tuesday, because it's going to be, 75 and almost 80 degrees here. So it'll be a good day to get out in there. I've got lots of fence to build and things like that. But what do you say here? Let me see here real quick here. The unfortunate thing is instead of making change with the ballots, we wait so long it takes bullets or the threat thereof. Yeah. Brett says, damn, looks cold up there. It's actually not too bad. Let's see here. Packrat says, gonna do some sketchy shit. Doodah. Hope I get away with it all the doodah day. Yeah. Yeah. Because then you get on and you're hoping a cop don't pull up behind you or something. I wanted to share this real quick. This comes from Paradise Stanley, who sent this to me, that said, which was a beautiful picture. It said, homesteading because the more I can do for myself, the less I have to rely on a system that doesn't care if I thrive. And I think that's, super true. And this is the reasons why we do it. And more importantly, this is why we continue to do it. Because, guys, I don't care whether you like Justin Trudeau or not. I don't care if you like Trump or not, or Harris or any of them. I don't think our best interests are being served regardless.
Right.
And so we get a chance to take some control of our lives and lessen the stroke, right, away from the system and find ways to, create for ourselves. And I think at the end of the day, that if we strive to do that, no matter what the future holds for all of our countries, right, and for mankind, we'll withstand much better than everybody else if we remember that we have to take accountability, right?
Yes.
And that if we do for ourselves, again, we'll get through it a whole lot better.
Plus, you don't know what they're trying to feed you.
Yeah. You've noticed that truthers can't stand Canada. They'd much rather live in the USA. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think that, I could write a book here. I think the New World Order, the deep state, whatever you want to call it, has been preying on people for a long time. And it's not a single country issue. It's not just happening here. You guys have heard my theory many times that I think Trump did collude with Putin. I think that they came out and said, hey, we're going to go take on the deep state or the New World Order, whatever you want to call it, because it's rampant. It's all over Europe. It's in Canada. It's in Australia. It's, just 100%.
What, the evil?
Yeah, the evil is just everywhere, right? Let's see, Tag, what did you think about all the Congress people caught reading the same script? Yeah, I've got a slide on that tonight. I'll talk about that.
Oh, I didn't
Brett
see
said
that.
a politician's a politician. Yeah. Hickra 54, how are you? Says start boiling sap for maple syrup tomorrow. I
Oh.
love real maple syrup. Love it, love it, love it. Yeah, I would love to barter for some Hickra 54. Wink, wink. Right. So yeah, and Matt says Trudeau is beholden to the British Crown. I think they're all beholden to something much deeper than a lot of us even understand.
Yeah.
And there's a lot that Trump's doing that I really like. There's a lot he's doing I don't. So let's see here. What's Dana say? Dana says, I was listening to Curtis Stone the other day. A lot of audience like the idea of joining the U.S. I don't know why they
He's
would
the
even,
Canadian.
Yeah, but I don't even know why they would want to. I don't know why America would want it, nor do I know why Canada would want it. Right? I don't.
You mean Canadians? You don't know why Canadians would want to come to America?
I mean, I can see the advantage of all of a sudden you got a big military. But really, I mean, Canada is much like America in a lot of ways, right? I mean, very similar.
Cold.
Well, you're not changing the climate, babe, by joining another country. You think if Canada joined Africa, they'd all of a sudden have better climate?
No, I thought they meant they were moving down here. Not necessarily just becoming a U.S.
Yeah, Terminator said, I need your address to send you something. Yep, okay, I'll send it to you. If I forget, remind me, but I'll send it to you. Packrat says, all the damage is taken by the common people in both countries. Agreed. I suspect the commodities volatility is benefiting connected traders in the know. Yeah. Brett says Canada is closer to the EU. And I agree with this. They are closer to the EU, but none of them are that far off. I mean, a lot of the problems, I think we will see the collapse of civilization in Europe first, but I don't think the United States will be that far behind. The woke problems that they're having over there, we have here, maybe just not to the same extent.
Oh, yeah, they do.
But anyway. All right, what else you got on your list, Pumpkin?
That's it.
All right.
You are running late.
Nah, we're right on time. Let's talk about the world a little bit, and we can get on to the good news. Guys, I'm going to tell you, I have never in my life, and I've said this before, but it seems like it just keeps changing, been in a place where there's so much going on, and I'm having a really hard time understanding what the real game is. I mean, I have my theories to it, right? And so we'll talk about this as we go through it. But as I mentioned before, I had this slideshow all built or close to being all built Wednesday, and I had to come back in and completely, flip it around. Let's see here. Psalm says Canada will lose all of their natural resources to the U.S. Perhaps that's the plan why Trump is eyeing it. See, I think Trump talking about making it the 51st state is just him negotiating. He's got some goal he wants at the bottom, and if he asks for the world, he ends up with what he wants. I think it's a negotiating ploy, but I guess we shall see, right? I think Bondi is just going to release the same redacted files. Yeah, we are never going to see the Epstein list. Again, we're never going to see it. Once they started coming out talking about there's some of it they have to redact for national security. Why? Right. We'll talk about that tonight too. Anyway, let's get rolling. So you guys remember how Trump said that he was going to call a joint sessions of both houses because he had big news. I don't know if you guys watched it all. Guys, I have to tell you, I was kind of disappointed in that. It's a big nothing burger.
What were you expecting?
I was expecting some big, just some big, gigantic news. The release of the Epstein files, something big. He just basically covered what he would consider his successes to be in his first month as president. But it kind of was a lot of really nothing. The divide, I think, was super clear, probably more than at any time in history, where, the Democrats, the only time they stood is when they were talking about, funding Ukraine. One of the people there got kicked out. I'm sure you guys seen this. And, the last time you had someone who was marched out of there by the Sergeant of Arms was March 26th of 1876 was the last time this happened, where they escorted, somebody out of there. I think I'm kind of torn a little bit on this. Part of me says, I get it. Someone's being a distraction. You're trying to, give a speech, whatever. But at the same time, this is the same president who talks about wanting free speech.
Well, why was he yelling while he was just yelling though?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm kind of, you know.
I mean, free speech is free speech, but to be a disruption is something else.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I kind of understand it, right? Because
What
you're
was
trying.
he yelling about?
Oh, about Medicare, about thinking that Trump was going to take away the funding for Medicare, which he won't, by the way. But yeah, it was just a premature State of the Union, says G. John. Let me put this up here. Premature State of the Union with opportunity to show the Dems are in a lose-lose, and they didn't cheer for any of the emotional stories. Yeah, and there was some pretty good ones. Like I guess I'll talk about that here in a little bit as we go on. But Speaker Johnson ordered the sergeant of arms to remove Rep. Al Green after he kind of had a meltdown. He said then that he was going to file articles of impeachment against Trump. But I think to Vicky Poland's point, which I think this is really important, is that I think the Democrats looked really poor on this. You know, when they were talking about the girl that survived cancer or the boy that survived cancer, you know, they really just divided the line and said, hey, if you're for Donald Trump, you're our enemy, you know, no matter what the story was. And I think they really looked stupid on it. You know, but again, I really want to stress, I think at the end of the day, to me, it was a whole lot of a nothing burger. A couple of the highlights, though, I would like to point out is one of the big ones to me was Trump was talking about the illegal border crossings. He used the word human traffickers, and he was talking about, you know, the human traffickers in our country, and then pointed to all the Democrats. I think that's a pretty big, statement. I also think it's interesting that the Democrats wanted to show, their resistance to him by everybody wearing pink. And then they were holding up these little, signs that said lying or not true or whatever it is. And I think it's super fascinating that the very people who were wearing pink to stand up for women's rights and those kind of things, just the day before, 100% of them voted against the bill that would remove men from women's sports. So again, I think it's all circus, bread and circus, guys, just all bread and circus. And, Trump is closer to my beliefs, but freedom only works if it works for everybody. We see Brett Boyd says he was yelling about Medicaid that pays for all the illegals and non-working people. Yeah, it's a complete mess. That's what I'll tell you for sure. He also went on and he talked about all of the money that they had saved. And there were some of them that was, pretty alarming, $45 million for DEI scholarships in Burma, for example.
Are they going to stop paying them?
Yeah, well, I think the money's probably already spent. What they did is they discovered the waste.
Okay.
So
it's not necessarily a continual waste. It's not a yearly.
Yeah, I think that they would have just stopped it. I also think it's super fascinating that Trump said we could expect a little disturbance. Right. That's a big word to me. He was talking about the economy and those kind of things. And he said, we can expect a little disturbance, but it'll be little. I think them signaling that's a big thing, to me, because typically they wouldn't come out and say there's going to be a disturbance, meaning the stock market fell by 100 points, He's
talking about the tariffs being.
Yeah, he's talking about
too much, and
economically we're going to suffer from it is pretty much what he's saying. And
you're not getting Mexican produce.
Yeah, right. I also, probably the highlight for me is when he renamed and I probably can't pronounce the Hanuak National Wildlife Refuge to the Jocelyn Nungaray National Wildlife Refuge, to that mom who lost her 12-year-old girl to a migrant. I thought that was really touching.
Jocelyn was the girl's name, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. Jocelyn was. I thought it was really it was really cool, to see that. Skates Girl says it was embarrassing on the world front as well. I think what's embarrassing is that our country's so divided, and I think the world sees us as weak, which again, we're going to talk a lot about there. Hey, Farm Ranch Homestead. Good to see you. What's here? Let's see here. I will say one thing. Melina is pretty, but much prettier when she smiles. She is pretty. Yep. All right. Let's keep it trucking, huh? I don't know if you guys know, all over the world, there are protests going on. And, the farmers in British, right now, they are protesting all of the buildings. Huge mobilizations are taking place right now across Greece. Iranian people are challenging the Islamic regime by singing and dancing and removing the hijabs. all of which are forbidden. Smoke grenades and tear gas from the country's political opposition disrupts Serbian parliament. So in the parliament, right? So this would be just like in the House of Representatives, they were throwing tear gas in Serbia. Romania, they're having lots of protests as well. The Serbian government, as I mentioned before. Again, in Greece, 300,000 Polish people are marching now in Poland, right? Let's see here. What do you say here? Psalms 125 says the plan to have Mexico, Canada, and Greenland is not a new plan. That was planned or talked about way back in the early 1900s to be called the future North American Union. Yeah, and I think there's a lot to that. I think it's about drawing lines of security. I think it's about getting out of the dollar into the new currency or whatever it is. But I think there's a whole lot more to that story, than what meets the eye. Arab nations just shut down Trump's proposal to take over Gaza. And this might just be the art of the deal where he said, I'm going to make Trump land. And the Arab nations said, oh, time out. No, you're not. We'll fund it. We'll take care of it. We don't want that to happen. And it might just be him, obviously, negotiating. But anyway, Trump, instead, they have unveiled a $53 billion plan to rebuild the Gaza Strip. During the summit of Cairo, Arab leaders made it clear that the Palestinians aren't going anywhere. Egypt's reconstruction plan includes clearing debris, rebuilding homes, and establishing industrial zones and ports, a direct rejection of the Trump fantasy of depopulating Gaza and turning it into beachfront real estate. Meanwhile, Israel backs Trump's relocation plan, but Arab leaders aren't budging. The message, they won't let Gaza be erased. See, I really don't think Trump ever had any plans whatsoever to rebuild Gaza. What he was trying to do is get somebody else to do it. And by saying, I'm going to make Trump land, or whatever, I'm going to make real estate, beachfront real estate property that the Arab world's saying, hold on, we'll take care of it. So they get to go in, they get to build it, and America doesn't have to pay for it, neither does Trump.
And they get it the way they want.
And they get it the way they want, right? I'll tell you, though, the biggest thing that I think that came out of that, hey, Parsons Road, welcome in. Good to see you. Coming out of Saudi Arabia, I found this was super interesting. It's hard to believe that the Saudi crown prince, what he was saying, he said, Allah did not put a barrier between himself and people. He revealed the Quran. Prophet implemented it. Quran is always open to interpretation. There are no fixed schools of thought, no infallible person. And so I think it's interesting that what they're talking about is becoming mainstream, becoming less erratic, becoming less extremist, blending in with other religions just to live their life. And I don't think anyone's seen this coming out of the Saudi prince, but if it was to hold true, I think it's a wonderful thing.
You think he's telling people to chill out?
Yeah, I think he's saying there's enough of this extremism stuff going on. People beheading people in the head, in the streets in the name of Allah's got to stop. Right? It's not good
you
for
think
anything.
That's what he's saying?
I think that's what he's saying. I think he's saying we can all live together, whether you're Christians or Muslim or whatever you are. We can find a way to coexist. And I think it's very big coming out of this, the Saudi prince who carries a pretty big stick. Let's see here. Brett Boyd says Arabs will own that area. Yeah, and I think as planned, right? We are not as divided as before. Trump got high scores on his speech and individual parts of it, CBS and CNN polls. See, I think we're more divided than ever. I think that there are deep powers at play, and I think the American people probably aren't as divided, but the world is certainly more divided, right? And I think we've got, active people trying to hurt our government and maybe even go so far as cause an economic collapse or whatever it is. There are big forces. I was kind of joking with a buddy of mine that, we've got America now against, Canada, Mexico, all of Europe, Russia, China, and half of its own country. So I guess we will see, right? Brett says Arabs will fund and EU will send their children to fight. Didn't they butcher a journalist? Who? I didn't read anything in the paper recently about that. If the Palestinians stay, who is going to lead? Arab nations? That would be my guess. Right? What else? This was interesting. So the Al-Qassam brigade spokesman says, we congratulate, and this is just recently, we congratulate Muslims on the arrival of the blessed month of Ramadan, the month of victories, especially our people in Palestine and Gaza. We tell our 2 billion Muslim brothers and sisters that your brothers in faith have sacrificed They're fasting by offering a stream of pure blood. The Islamic nation will not rise, nor will it hold a place among the nations until the Holy Land is cleansed of its defiled of its occupiers. I'm not going to read the whole thing to you guys, but basically what he was saying is he was calling to arms everybody to come to the aid and defeat Israel. And behind the scenes, there's a lot of reports of a lot of funding coming from America to Israel. And it seems like that conflict is heating up. There's some more stuff going on with Egypt and Syria, which I'll get to in a minute. But it seems like the hotbed in the Middle East is beginning to pick up once again. Let's see here. Jen says, you think they're going to dismiss part of their ideological views about non-Muslims? The different factors can't even agree with each other. I don't know if they're going to or not, Jen, but I do think that the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia is saying that's a big statement. His voice does carry some weight. I better hurry. We extend our greetings to our, I already read that one. Sorry, I wouldn't read that anymore. Tulsi Gabbard was quoted as saying Europe is abandoning freedom. Ukraine cancels election, opposition silenced and jailed, churches are shut down, and government controls the media. And this is going on everywhere. You can be arrested in Germany, France, Great Britain, all for something as silly as a post. And this is the divide, I think. We talk about the lines are being drawn between freedom and not. And even Europe is dividing up now, and some of the countries are siding with America. Some of them aren't. It looks like we'll come out of with a whole new set of allies, but it won't be France and Great Britain and Germany. It'll be Italy and Poland and, Romania. Zelensky says the U.S. will have to send their sons and daughters to fight. He was talking about the battle in Ukraine. He was talking about that NATO, if they can get an Article 5 invoked, that America will be forced to send its soldiers to Ukraine to fight Russia. After, if you guys remember Zelensky's little debacle that happened with President Trump, after that, Russia has been massing troops and Ukraine's been bombing, and it seems like that conflict is escalating.
That just happened this
as
week,
well.
didn't it?
It did. Yeah, it seems like that's escalating as well.
Hopefully everybody knows what you're talking about.
Yeah, Zelensky also went on to say that the end of the war with Russia is very, very, very far away. Yeah, lovely, right? It gets worse. Finland does agree with Zelensky that there should be no ceasefire until Ukraine is heavily armed and heavily sanctioned on Russia. Which it seems like America, at least early in this week, didn't want any part of. Finnish President Alexander Stubb now proposes a 3-stage plan, which would include Ukraine should first be put on a strong position, more and greater support for the Ukraine, tougher sanctions against Russia, the use of frozen assets. So the European Union has a couple $100 billion of frozen assets from Russia. And what they're saying is, let's take these frozen assets and give it to the Ukraine so Ukraine can defend itself. Obviously, went on to talk about security arrangements, meaning that, that Ukraine would get some kind of security agreement. I don't know how this can even hold any weight. Back in the Obama administration, when they overthrew the democratic elected government of the Ukraine, they promised Ukraine security protection against Russia, and here we are today. So a guarantee of some type of security guarantee, America and the European Union have already broke at least once. Let's see. Let's get some comments here real quick. Parsons Road said a lot of things happening cannot be stopped. Bible prophecy is coming to pass. Yep. Look at that. You got some support, Parsons Road. Yeah. I also don't think that we can stop this. Trump ignorantly attacks NATO. He says, if the U.S. was in trouble and we called them France, do you think that they were going to come and protect us? I'm not so sure. Fact that France lost 90 lives and spent tens of billions of dollars fighting for us. He's talking about it on 9/11, but they really didn't come to, America's shores. They went to Europe's shores and, Middle Eastern shores where the fight was going on. But I think Trump's right on this. I think that Europe has very, very small armies. And how could they come to defend? Part of me thinks that this whole debacle about, leaving NATO and all of this stuff has to do with that we've had partners in NATO who have relied upon us to carry the weight. And Trump's tired of it. And I think one of the way you can get them to build their own militaries is to tell them we're not going to protect them anymore. Right. And so now you have you have all of Europe, massing armies. I also think there's something else to this. I think that maybe what Trump sees is that World War III is inevitable. And if he sees World War III as inevitable, I could see a situation where he says, all right, Israel, you take care of Iran, Europe, you got Russia, and we're going to go deal with China. Something along those lines. And he's just trying to get them to spend more money, on arms and stuff. But guys, here's the real problem, right? I mean, we got a global arms race going on now.
Right.
Right. I mean, you have troops being amassed everywhere. And I'll give you a whole bunch of examples tonight of where it's going on all over Europe. And people are not very happy about it. Only 48 hours after Trump's hard turn towards Russia, an emergency meeting of NATO countries plus Ukraine was held, but without the United States of America. So after Zelensky left the United States after the debacle with Trump, they had an emergency meeting to show solidarity with Ukraine. European leaders just announced that Europe will send troops to directly fight Russia in the Ukraine, and that the globalists demand the U.S. under NATO Article 5 must join in. And so what they're saying is that they're going to send NATO member troops, particularly like the United Kingdom, France, etc. They're going to send them to fight in the Ukraine. And when those soldiers begin to die, that it will spark an Article 5. And Article 5 means all NATO members must come to the aid. We have a huge problem on our hands. NATO countries are now saying they'll bypass the U.S. and send troops into the Ukraine. And then if Russia attacks, they'll invoke Article 5. Maybe though some form of conscription or national service, legacy media and politicians are ramping up the rhetoric around mandatory national military service. This is going around all over Europe right now. And I think one thing that's so fascinating about this is, they attacked patriots and, right-wingers and all of this stuff as terrorists and all this. And now they want us to, they want these exact same people, to go fight, on their behalf. Quoting Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk, and I really appreciated the statement. He said, can you imagine where 500 million Europeans are asking 300 million Americans to defend them against 140 million Russians?
Mm-hmm. Where'd you read that from?
Yeah. Right. Oh, babe, I got so much tonight. And this respected economist Martin Armstrong warns that because of their globalist policy, Europe is in a free fall collapse and believes only a war with Russia can save them. I thought this was a super important point because the fact of the matter is the euro is going to die. Europe is in chaos, but the dollar is going to die too. Right. And at the end of the day, what stops all of that? How do you take the attention off of all of the corruption and all of the things? War. I mean, well, what a great way to do it. I mean, war, alien invasion, right? Yeah. Whatever. I mean, you got to come up with something big, and what bigger than, in this particular case, in World War III. The British media is now preparing the British population for an imminent war with Europe. As quoted, they're saying we are now at war with Russia. The European Union and Canada decided to stop Trump's peace plan for the Ukraine and make any deal possible. At today's summit, they announced more military aid and sanctions on Russia, which again, America opposes, right? Or time of this thing, it opposed it. They want a peace deal, but they also want security guarantees. Ken Starmer from the Great Britain said, we are at a crossroads of history and it's time to act. I think it's absolutely crazy that these types of words are being used. I mean, these are the words that you were hearing just prior to World War II. We're at war with Russia. We need to face them directly. Britain's political class are genuinely insane, but at least we are no longer hearing the absurd rhetoric like this anymore, thanks to Trump. Well, really? Are you sure? Russia doesn't want to push our buttons, I love this, says Great Britain. We have been at war for 1,000 years before Russia's existence. We might be smaller, but we would tactically and brutally dismantle these
people.
I think it's crazy that Great Britain, who hasn't really fought any war in a long, long time, I mean, they've sent a few troops here and there, would make a statement to that. And I think they have forgotten that, like in Stalingrad in World War II, Russia lost 1 million soldiers and kept fighting, Yeah, absolutely crazy. It gets worse. A Lithuanian president says the quiet part out loud. Ukraine is buying this is important, guys. Listen to this. Super, super important. Ukraine is buying the precious time for us every day, paying with their blood. So it would be highly irresponsible to waste this time. Europe is preparing for war. So what they're saying is, that we need to basically fund the Ukraine. We need to keep Russia at bay as we build our armies, because again, with the threat of America not backing them anymore, they're trying to build up their armies. 26 member states of Europe endorsed the European Union President 800 billion to 1 trillion in additional defensive spending plan. This is equivalent to the U.S. defense spending. So they have 26 members of Europe, the European Union, have agreed to cough up $1 trillion, the amount of money we spend on our national defense in the United States. Crazy. President of Turkey, Erdogan, says, let us not forget that Europe's security is not just a matter of the European Union. We believe that it is our common interest. And so it looks like to me like Turkey is saying we also need to back Ukraine. And then a full Turkish invasion of Syria's coast is currently underway. So Turkey is now sending lots of troops right now into Syria. And so now we have another conflict that has just popped off. Is that exciting? Lovely, right? Guys, I have missed
a comment.
So I don't even know where I'm at in the comments. I'll just pick one right here and we'll go on. As things continue to get worse, the more important it is for people to build community and become self-sufficient. I could not agree more. Right. Everything the Russians said from the beginning turned out to be true. NATO has moved 1,000 miles to the east. America overthrew the Ukrainian government in 2024, and RFK is dropping absolute truths. And what he said there is accurate, right? We did help overthrow the government there, and we helped install Zelensky, and we did give them security guarantees. And we may be witnessing the birth of a new Europe, and we owe it to one man, President Zelensky, says the European Union. The head of the European Union's foreign policy department, Estonia's Kajak Kalas, said that the European Union's goal include victory not only over Russia, but also over China. She also went on that has openly stated that the European Union will escalate its support for the war in the Ukraine until Russia is defeated. If you're saying Russia can't collectively defeat Russia, then how do we ever defeat China? These are dangerous words, right? One other statement from her, she wants to see Russia's defeat so that Russia can then be broken up into smaller countries. Hey, Gregory, how are you? Welcome in. Up until today, I did not know who this person was, but she's the second in charge of the European Union. Mm-hmm. So this is the European Union talking, right? Okay, Brett says, tag, they are broke as F. To loan them any money. Well, they don't. The thing is broke. It's such an interesting word because they'll just print money, right? I mean, you got this huge global financial Ponzi scheme. What does it matter, right? I mean, there is no broke. Only matters when you have solid records and reporting and some, system, right? G. John says, who thinks Europe would have coughed up 1 trillion if Trump and Z would have had a great agreement last week, right? And this could just be part of the art of the deal, right? Yeah, Gregory, the world is a mess. It gets worse. So you guys know the Air Force has mobilized a fleet of the B-1 Lancers to China's doorstep. So they flew a bunch of B-1 Lancers, which is a big, heavy bomber, out of some of our American bases and stationed them in Guam and other places to deter the threat in Southeast Asia. There's new videos coming out that are showing Chinese soldiers wearing Russian military uniforms in the Ukraine. And you can see some of these pictures of them, drawing in Chinese. The Chinese embassy came on after the tariff because, as you guys know, Trump put a 10% or 15% tariff on China. And China says, and I quote, if war is what the U.S. wants, be it a tariff war, a trade war, or any other type of war, we are ready to fight until the end.
Eek.
Yeah, right? They go on to talk about how the fentanyl issue is a flimsy excuse for the U.S. to raise tariffs on Chinese imports. China also said that Gaza belongs to the Palestinians. And so as you can see, like we keep talking about, lines are being drawn.
Yeah.
Sides are being picked. And I actually think that America would side with NATO probably through all of this, but that Trump's trying to get them to build up their armies because he sees something also. But I mean, we have, guys, this stuff going on all over the world. It's not isolated to any one place. As I mentioned before, that, you know, Trump has been kind of opposed to sanctions and a lot of these things. Well, till today. Trump was said today, based on the fact that Russia is absolutely pounding the Ukraine on the battlefield right now, I am strongly considering large-scale banking sanctions, and tariffs on Russia until a ceasefire and final settlement agreement on peace is reached. To Russia and Ukraine, get to the table right now before it's too late. So now Trump is taking a harder stance against Russia and the Ukraine. And I think Trump really wants peace. He's saying, hey, guys, this is not going to end well, right? This is not going to end well, right? And then breaking just late today, Donald Trump is considering pulling troops out of Germany and stationing them on the border of Ukraine. Trump mulls withdrawing 35,000 troops from Germany and plans to redeploy them to Western Europe. And the source for this is the Telegraph. Yeah. Did I miss anybody in here? Yeah, Red Dawn, anyone? Yeah, no doubt, huh? Yeah. Oh, look at that. Yeah. Conservative Friend says Laura Logan said Chinese troops spotted on the Mexican border with the United States. Yeah, guys, I'm telling you, lines are being drawn in the sand, teams are being picked, and the old Axis and allies, right? Yeah, but here's the thing. One step closer says, I doubt that. Right. The Telegraph makes stuff up all the time. Well, I'm glad that you said that, because I pulled another article, totally different source, that says Donald Trump's considered pulling troops out of Germany and makes the exact same statement. So I can't guarantee you that it's true. I'm not in these conversations, right? But there is more than one source out there. I believe that the push for outright war in Europe has something to do with the depopulation, reducing the cities to rubble to rebuild smart cities. I think it has to do with their hand got caught in the cookie jar. And the only way they're going to get out of this infinite debt, this infinite borrowing, is they have to completely change the dynamic, right? They got to change the front. And I think Europe knows that its days are numbered unless they can change the dynamic. I think America knows it. I think the whole world knows it. I can't think of a time where I've personally been, more attentive to what's going on from a day-to-day basis. In these types of things, because again, I think it's just crazy. Real Republicans know, and this is Representative Don Bacon. Real Republicans know that Putin's Russia hates the West and freedom. We also know that Ukraine wants democracy, free markets, and the rule of law, and we will stand right with right versus evil. Reagan, Churchill, Eisenhower, that is our legacy, and I won't walk away from it. I think this is, I put this one in here because, again, I think Trump's playing hardball. But at the end of the day, he just sold 39 F-35s right to the Balkan states, right? He just now is talking about tariffs, about moving troops. Again, I think he's trying to get people to arm up because, again, I think there's issues. Also, Poland. So in Poland, they came out today and they said they're going to try to get their army up to 500,000 soldiers. They're also considering nuclear weapons as part of their security policy. France has said that they would provide them for them. And then Poland also is saying that they're going to withdraw from the Ottawa Treaty. And I don't know how many of you guys know what the Ottawa Treaty was, but basically it's about landmines. And so Poland is introducing forms of conscription, withdrawing from the landmine treaties so that it can begin sowing mines along the borders that it has with Ukraine and Russia, and in looking for an option of obtaining an interceptor nuclear weapons. And then again, France has said that they will oblige Poland with that issue. So again, more lines being drawn. I mean, there's no way that they would be putting landmines on the border if they weren't worried about something, right? There's just no way that would happen. Vladimir Putin said, after all of this kind of stuff, he said, in warning to the West, he says, "Dear colleagues, media and journalists and guests, good afternoon. Today, again, in the European Union and NATO member states, there are calls for war against Russia. Today, unfortunately, or not, we can say again that history always repeats itself, always. The views of our colleagues from Europe and NATO on Russia never change. They are always ready to destroy Russia. Everything Russian and ready to occupy Russia, their goals never change. Hatred against Russia has always remained in the veins of some of our colleagues and countries ruling the European Union and NATO. Dear colleagues, today we hear again that Russia is the aggressor, and that the truth is that Russia has never been the aggressor and has always defended itself through history. That's a fact. Dear colleagues from Europe and NATO, Russia never starts a war. Russia always stops wars. You start wars, and the goal has always been to destroy Russia. Russia has never threatened countries, has never threatened the security of the world, but we like to say the snake bites the most when it dies. You created fascism always everywhere, and in Ukraine, wars are your work, and Russia will always defend its country and its people no matter what the cost. No matter how many losses we suffer, we have always defended our country and its people, and we will always continue to do. As you know, we have proven ourselves many times in history as a country with spirit. And today you are shouting again, victory over Russia. I assure you that Russia will not fall. It may be torn apart, but never destroyed. If a NATO and European Union country declares war on Russia, everyone must know that our reaction will be lightning fast. And if we feel a threat to us, our reaction will be destructive. Today, Russia has all kinds of weapons in its current history of the world. And I emphasize, you have no idea. You have not seen anything from Russia and its possibilities in Ukraine, because Ukraine is our historical country and there are Russians in the Ukraine and we are saving them. And this is not a war, but a military operation, which then, by the way, Macron announces French troops will be going to the Ukraine. I think there's a lot to this, and I kind of buy what Putin's saying right there about how they're not using their advanced stuff in Ukraine because there's a lot of Russians that live in the Ukraine. But again, I think, lines have absolutely been drawn. So your conservative friend says Monkey Works has spotted lots of U.S. aircraft leaving Germany and headed to the Middle East. No, don't surprise me a bit. There are no good guys in the Ukraine war. We need to stay out. I agree. Yeah, sounds like 1936, only worse. I think it's absolutely. Hey, Kelly May, how are you? I think it is just insane that all of these lines are being drawn. I mean, what are they hoping to gain out of any of this? It's only going to continue to intensify, and it's only going to continue to get worse. I mean, we have battles being fought on, 6 of the continents across the world today. We had a new one pop off in Turkey, as I mentioned earlier, and now we have China threatening to take us to war. All in a week. And none of that was going on Wednesday when I started.
No wonder you say that it's changed so much.
Babe, it just, I was prepared to talk about, how Trump is dividing and separating away from Europe. And then I find out, that there's a whole bunch of planes being sold behind the scenes, and there's a whole bunch of armament going on, and really nothing has really changed there. Just what we see in the news, and in the media. Interesting times we're living for sure. Let's see here. Oh, this is more from Putin, but because I covered other things, I'll just skip it. Russia propagandists are worried about a possible European military union. So the European Union, again, is building up troops. They're spending lots of money. They're increasing their spending. And maybe that was the overall goal from Trump, right, was to get them to pay their share. But it's absolutely happening, all over. What happens if they send the men away to war? And it's interesting, you have countries like Great Britain that have all those immigrants. Imagine if they send all their, British citizens, men away. What kind of country do they have, when they bring back? Psalm says all pre-planned to bring in the New World Disorder. See, I kind of agree with this. I used to not be a big proponent of the whole New World Order thing, but it sure does make sense, doesn't it? Psalms 125. It gets worse. You guys remember how I told you that if you ever get bored, you ought to Google U.S. military bases around Russia and China?
And that's what you did?
Yeah. See all those flags? Those are our military bases. Right? See how there's really nowhere for them to go anymore? Where are they going to retreat to? I guess China could retreat into Mongolia. Oh, this is a great question. Jen says, so do you think that Trump is going to ally with BRICS or just Russia? No, I do not think he will ally with BRICS, because a lot of people don't know this. The reason why BRICS was formed has nothing to do with currency. It has to do with sanctions. So the reason why the BRICS nations came together is because they're tired of America and the European Union sanctioning them all the time. And if they can find a currency that the world can deal in away from the dollar, then the sanctions won't hurt them and they can continue to go on with what they're doing. As BRICS continues to take hold, as right now it's 42% of the world right now are BRICS nations, the sanctions won't matter anymore. and America being able to wield that big hammer of, global sanctions, it just won't carry any weight anymore. So, and I think you'll see more and more people drive to it as the dollar and the euro and those kind of things continue to, crash. One step closer says draft the immigrants and send them to war. Yeah, I want to serve in that company. We'll get off that for just a minute. Actually, I think I got my slides. I think I got to. Anyway.
Confused?
No. I want to share some news with you guys in the United States as we're pushing the end of our life tonight. Did you guys see at the Oscars? I never talk about stuff like this hardly ever, but one thing I found super interesting. Megan Murphy said in her speech, she said, "I've been pushing back against the term sex work for well over a decade. Now I am decidedly grossed out at seeing it all completely mainstreamed. Its purpose is to sanitize and normalize one of the most abusive, exploitative, harmful, disgusting, predatory industries on the planet. It doesn't make you polite or empathetic. It makes you a sucker." So anyway, this person got up there to thank the world for, the Oscar and all of that stuff and said that she wanted to just highlight sex workers and how great these people are and, how important role they play in our society and all this.
Wow.
Yeah. That kind of blew me away. If you guys haven't seen it, you guys should absolutely look that up. CNN conducted some polls about how popular Trump is being. And I found something very, very interesting. See here, do I have the age groups in there? Oh, I don't. Anyway, it was interesting. Trump is most popular with the younger age group. Like the class that he's doing the grade is like 18 to 26, which I found super, super interesting. Yeah, Parsons Road says, wow, yeah, I couldn't agree more. I cannot believe that they would celebrate these kinds of things. Just disgusting. President Trump's talking about term limits. I hope that comes true. They're also talking, they also got rid of, we had a question last week about BOI, beneficial ownership, and I thought they were talking about beneficiaries. So for those who asked, they stopped that, which was also good. I got so many stuff going on. Let's talk about Epstein real quick. So Candace Owen claims the Epstein and JK files will never be released. I agree with that because now you have the Trump administration coming out saying for national security reasons, we can't drop the Epstein list. So why would that be, guys? Think about that. And I'm going to tell you why. It's because I think it's because of Israel. Because there's power. There are world leaders probably on that list.
Oh.
Right. And I think this is probably what it is. The FBI agent, the field office in New York that was withholding them, he has now resigned. Pam Bondi says that a truckload of Epstein files did arrive on Friday to her office and that Kash Patel was going through it. But again, then came out and said that they will be highly redacted. So what good is all of that, right? And you want to talk about losing trust and losing faith.
Right.
If they really want to make a difference, they will come clean to the American people, but we are not going to see that. Thomas Massey came out, and I thought this was a beautiful statement. And he said the fact that the Epstein files have yet to be released demonstrates that the president does not yet have operational control of the Department of Justice or the FBI. I'm a big fan of Thomas Massey. I think that was said really, really well. You guys remember during President Trump's speech, he talked about taking over the Panama Canal, and he said, this a lot. And then he went on to say in his speech that a private company has purchased ports up and down the Panama Canal on both ends of the Panama Canal. So I don't know if you guys know this or not, but that company that purchased them is BlackRock. So behind the scenes, President Trump makes a deal with BlackRock to buy the Panama board, the ports at the Panama Canal.
You think he was involved in that?
Oh, guarantee you. How can a thing like the Panama Canal, which is critical to the national security of the United States, how would they would of course be involved in that deal, babe? So you now have on several occasions Trump buttering up to Zuckerberg, having conversations about vaccine with Gates, and now BlackRock is buying up the canal. I think I'm not fond of this absolutely in any way. I also found it interesting. I don't know if you guys know this, but BlackRock sold a whole bunch of its cryptocurrency just prior to making that deal. Let's see here. Here's another very interesting theory behind that, right? So there apparently breaking. Douglas McGregor was talking about how there are direct links between Ukraine and Trump's second assassination attempt. And I find it fascinating that, remember, all the couple people who tried to assassinate Trump, what did all of them have in common? You think? They were in BlackRock commercials, right? Remember that whole thing that was going on? Okay. They were in BlackRock commercials. So what do you suppose the chances are that the Trump administration has agreed to redact the Epstein files, right? That they have agreed to redact or not let out the assassination files in return for buying up the Panama Canal. I think it's an interesting connection that all of a sudden there's these links. I don't think we're going to see anything. Anyway, I think that's an interesting connection. Yep, look at BlackRock. Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is the thing. I mean, we talk about the deep state and, draining the swamp. There's not a more corrupt, DEI woke company out there in BlackRock. And yet, apparently we're in business with them.
Apparently.
Right. Yeah. Who knows? Also, a couple other news. It also was broke this week that Zelensky met with the Democrats prior to meeting with Trump. And I think this is also interesting because I'll bet you somebody got in his ear and said, you got to go play hardball with Trump, which is why we've seen
him acting the way he did.
Yeah. Pretty interesting. Anyway, there are so many comments, guys. All right. I'm just going to pick and start heading down and we'll talk about a few of them. That's a big red flag. Don't forget Larry Ellison, CEO of Oracle. Oh yeah, thank you, Psalms, 100%. So it's not just Bill Gates and Zuckerberg and BlackRock. It's also Larry Ellison, 100%. Right. I am liking a lot of things that Trump is doing, but there are definitely some mistakes being made. I just question what it's all for. Parsons Road.
Well, just like the CHIPS Act, he said that he was going to try to get rid of the CHIPS Act, and I was like, why would he do that? That was supposed to be bringing chips.
Well, it's because
manufacturing to America.
He brought it differently. So he convinced the largest chip manufacturer in the world in Taiwan to invest $100 million in America. But the problem isn't the bills themselves. The idea of the CHIPS Act is wonderful. It's all the pork that's laid in there. The pork. The deals that are made on the side. Yeah. So we agree to this big deal to bring chips, but I want a new bridge in Maine.
Whoa,
and then, the pork.
What does that have to do with it all?
Babe, every bill is littered full of pork barrel spending that funds all these other side projects. This is how we end up paying for circumcisions in Mozambique. Right? And I think that's more what they were saying. But I do not like this in any way. I do not like that there are connections now into BlackRock and all of these kinds of things. Earlier, some of you guys were asking me about what did I think about the Democrats all having the exact same message. 22 Democratic senators were caught using the exact same script in talking about Trump. And at the end of the day, I think it's just them not being thorough. But I did find it interesting that Elon Musk announced that he would give a brand new Cybertruck to anyone that could provide proof of who wrote that script. Again, I think that's a little bit lawfare, kind of as well. Oh, hey, Can Squatch, how are you? Get your comment up there. It says blackmail runs DC. That's why FBI sat on Epstein tapes. Very valuable for them to use. Yeah, well, and they only get a chance to, use it once, right? Trump's mistakes or just events exposing the limits of what he's allowed to do. Maybe. I have not come to a conclusion on Trump. I'm just telling, there's some things I really love that he's doing. But there's some stuff like the BlackRock thing and, some of these other things that I don't particularly like. Guys, you got to remember, this is super critical. Freedom only works if it works for everybody. And as we stand up for our freedoms, right, me on a conservative constitutional side, I also have to stand up for the freedoms of a liberal, a Democrat, or whatever, right? And so I don't want lawfare being used on the Democrats against Republicans, but I don't want the Republicans using it against the Democrats either, right? Let's see here. Jen says, domestic holdings, a global investment company, is wholly owned by the Singapore Minister of Finance.
Oh, because she said no one person company owns BlackRock. 5
well, a whole bunch of shareholders on BlackRock,
Yeah,
but
Vanguard.
Vanguard owns part of it. But what's interesting is the three biggest companies in the world that control everything are Blackguard, State Street, and Vanguard. The two largest shareholders in any one of them are the other one. So like BlackRock, the two largest shareholders in BlackRock are Vanguard and State Street, for example. But collectively, those board of directors, who they all share, right, control a huge percent. It's like 81% of the S&P 500.
Well, she was talking about
Who?
owns 25% of the company.
Okay,
That's what
I'll
she
read
was.
it. I'll read it. Okay, no one person or company owns BlackRock. 5 institutional investors: Vanguard, BlackRock, State Street, Bank of America, Vanguard, and Temasek owns about 25% of the company. Yeah, it's the same people though, over and over and over again. Wash, rinse, repeat.
Yeah.
Right. We talked about tariffs. I'll skip this one because we're already at 2 hours. Let me see here. I thought this was an interesting comment. The global conditions are deteriorating beyond what most people grasp. I would like to think twice about visiting the UK, where my roots lie, out of concern that my social media posts will land me in jail. French people were polled whether or not they considered the United States an ally. 73% of French people polled said the United States is an enemy. World War III is how the deep state globalists plan to install the New World Order. And this is kind of what I'm talking about, is that you can't bring up the new without destroying the old, right? And everything's on the brink. You guys, we are so far in debt. There's so much corruption. There are so many things going on. If you wanted to bring about the great North American Union, what would you do? Well, I'd make Mexico a state, Canada a state, Greenland a state. I'd create the new Amero, the new dollar, the new something to come out of the old, spin it as this wonderful thing of alliance. And I would sell it under the guise of, we have to protect ourselves against the evil Russia and China. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, I just would. And
That makes sense.
right. Yeah. So I don't know, guys. I don't know. Let's see. Oh, I found this interesting. You guys look at the middle of the page here. Here is on February the 28th, right? So far for the month, the Dow Jones had lost 3%. And then fast forward to March the 4th, it was down 4.1%. And now fast forward to today, March the 7th, it's down 4.58% in the last month. So the stock market has been slowly creeping down. Now it has some days like today, it was up 150 points or whatever it was. But again, they're going to have to bring this one down before, they can bring anything else up. I think today would be, I'm not giving you guys financial advice, but if you like to be in the markets, it would be a great time to be in a cash position, because if you could time some of these big drops, there would be some money to be made. U.S. stock market is a state of collapse as Trump announces these tariffs that go on. I imagine this is going to continue, and I would reference back to the Trump it wasn't a State of the Union, but that the address to both, where he said we're going to have some hiccups, kind of along the way. Earlier, it was talked about Canada's breaking contracts with Verizon, but what I found interesting is that the Verizon communication system to air traffic controllers is continually breaking down. You're seeing all the flights and the problems that are going on, and they're blaming it on Verizon. The FFA breaking says they're close to canceling the $2.4 billion contract for Verizon and handing it over to Starlink. Yeah. See, it's this kind of stuff I don't like.
Come on.
Right? It's this kind of stuff right here.
And then let's all buy electric cars.
Yeah. So we fire some FAA employees. We get an inside look at the contract, right? And then they cancel Verizon and add Starlink. I don't know. I don't know. Right. Oh, great point. LJC says it's a good thing Trump's buying a bunch of crypto. What could go wrong? Yeah. So they announced that Bitcoin would be part of the federal holdings. Yeah. I'm not doing it. I can tell you that. Wish everybody the best from that, though. Let's talk about some beef. You guys want to talk about beef? We're about to close this thing out. I'm not going to, they're talking about the H5N1 vaccine on our beef supply.
Oh.
Right. And while our beef supply is the latest to get approved for the F5N1 bird flu vaccine under the Biden and Obama, who sold our pork industry to China, pigs are being vaccinated. Our poultry is also already vaccinated, and we have no way of tracking vaccinated pork. I have had the chance to talk to many cattle ranchers across the nation, and what I have found out about beef is terrifying. And they go on further. The beef you're eating, and this is important, from the local grocery store is foreign beef. If they pack the meat in America, it's considered UFBs.
Yeah.
So if they ship the meat over from China and package it in the United States, it's sold as American.
Yes,
right?
and we do not have to put on the packaging the country of origin.
Correct. Our best beef is being shipped overseas, and Americans are being served up the low-grade foreign beef.
Yeah.
This is why we grow our own turkeys. This is why we grow our own chickens. This is why we grow our own beef, so that we have, some kind of control. Some interesting history on this. Prior to World War II, the USA produced more lamb in our country than we could consume. We were an exporter of lamb. Today, we import over 80% of the lamb consumed. Beef imports grew 24% in 2024 as compared to 2023. So we're importing 24% more beef in 24 than we did in 23. Beef prices remain at record highs while the cattle population remains at record lows. The United States of America is now importing more beef than we are exporting. We fear the same. That is currently true for lamb. Will soon be a reality for beef. Food security should have the support and the attention of both sides of the aisle. If we can't feed our people, what else can we do? Trump went on to say to the great farmers of the United States, get ready to start making lots of agricultural products to be sold inside the United States. Tariffs will go in effect April 2nd. Oh, okay. Let's see here. Mo says, is Tractor Supply chicks vaxxed? Yes, they are. Silver lining for the win says yes. Let's see here. Jen says, do you think they messed with the commercial chicken feed and that's why the birds were sick? I do. I mean, I think the best thing we can do, again, Jen, just grow them ourselves, and for anybody,
grow their own feed, grow for the birds, for the cows.
And anybody who's around me or in this general area, if you want some chickens grown or some turkeys grown, we can certainly do some bartering or whatever it is, but I'd be absolutely careful where we're buying things. Gregory says, I think this is a great point. No one wants to be a farmer or a rancher anymore. It's funny. I've spent my whole life in the corporate world, Gregory, and all I dream about every day is being a poor dirt farmer. So I wouldn't say nobody, because some of us still want to do it. Maybe farmer's the right word. I don't want to be a farmer. I want to be a homesteader, but more.
Because you're growing for yourself.
Yeah.
You're not growing for a mass of people and then trying to live by their rules. And
guys, I pray and I hope that Trump has his heart in the right place and we're going to do the right things. But I'm seeing more and more stuff that just really points out more of the status quo to me. And it's just the same side of a different coin. Always remember that, freedom only works if it works for both sides. If just like in the newsroom, when you kick out news reporters, out of your press conference that have an opposing view, then the only view you get is the view they want you to get. Right? Discourse is healthy. We were talking a lot about EMP Shield earlier today, and I have somebody at EMP Shield who is a polar opposite from me politically, but I love her. We've gotten to be good friends. We will sit and have these great, big, open debates. And there's sometimes I change my opinion a little, and I hope there's times that she does. But at the end of the day, that discourse is healthy. Let's celebrate those differences, right? And I think if we do that, we'll be better off. But remember, we have to watch out for the freedom of everybody, not just the freedom of our own beliefs, because again, that's how we get into our trouble. But you got anything you want to say before we get out of here tonight?
I was going to say, take care of yourselves. If we don't take care of our bodies, then we will have a place to live.
Yeah. Would you agree that one of the best things we can do to take care of our bodies is build up that core body strength?
Yes. Yes. You should do all of that and stretch and drink water and get good sleep and eat right. And it's not too late.
Yeah. Yeah, guys, I would like to say that too. Make sure you take time for yourself. There's nothing wrong with sitting down under a tree and enjoying the minute. There's nothing wrong with resting just a little bit. But although all of us have time, you guys, anybody, you could start today homesteading, and there's enough time to get your stuff together. We've built all of this stuff out here in less than 5 years. You can absolutely do it. You can absolutely.
It's tiring.
But we did it.
We did.
Right? We 100% did it.
Yes.
And you can do it too. but time is getting shorter and shorter by the day. And so I just like to leave you guys with
Actually,
that.
the days are getting longer.
Well, the days are getting longer. The times, you know, are getting shorter. And
Well,
what I
there's
mean,
lots of crazy going on.
there's a lot of crazy going on. And guys, I am sure food prices are going to get tough. I think energy prices are going to get tough. The thing is, you can do stuff about it today. Right? I was talking to a buddy today who's got a $400 a month electric bill. I'm like, why would you, at $400 a month, go get yourself a solar system, finance it for finance it for 5 years, pay it off.
Yeah.
In 5 years, you no longer have an electric bill.
Yeah, a lot of people do it.
I mean, whatever it is. But let's go work on our security, food security, energy security, water security, right? And I think if we go do those kinds of things, we'll be in a much better place to withstand whatever's coming in front of us. And more importantly, let's stick together. Let's build community. We'll get that done. Good night, everybody. And we will see you guys in a week.
Be out.
Be out for sure.
Tag out.
Core body strength. Don't forget it.
Hold the line.